Look, after nearly 15 years of gaming, I've developed a pretty sharp BS detector when it comes to games. I'm done with the smoke and mirrors of bad titles pretending to be good. So I've put together something special. 18 games that are undeniably brilliant, true masterpieces that have somehow flown under the radar. Keep watching, because I'm convinced one of these is about to become your new gaming addiction. If Alan Wake 1 was like a love letter sent to Stephen King, then Alan Wake 2 is precisely a peak psychological horror experience. Remedy truly went all out this time, seamlessly blending survival horror, deep storytelling, and intensely unsettling visuals that will definitely make you rack your brain thinking. In the game, you're not just controlling Alan either. This time, you also step into the shoes of FBI agent Saga Anderson, who's investigating some truly bizarre supernatural murders. The game constantly shifts between different realities, and the combat feels significantly more intense. And the story? Oh, it dives deep into Remedy's connected universe in a way that Control fans will absolutely be thrilled and surprised by. This is easily one of the most outstanding horror games in recent years. If you're captivated by deep, haunting narratives that genuinely make you think, then Alan Wake 2 is a must-play title. It's a shame because before it became so widely acclaimed, this game was genuinely overlooked by quite a few people. Alright, next on the list is Elite Dangerous. Personally, I'm still debating whether to call it a game or a complex space simulator anymore. All I know is, if you have the dream of living like a spaceship pilot, then Elite Dangerous will make that a reality in the most authentic way possible. Your starting point is very humble. A basic ship, a few loose coins in your pocket, in return for absolute autonomy. Want to become a wealthy merchant, a cold-blooded bounty hunter, someone who sets foot in places nobody knows? It's all up to you. The scale of the universe is truly overwhelming. A one-to-one copy of the Milky Way, containing billions of star systems awaiting courageous pilots to visit. Have to be honest, learning how to play initially is a bit of a struggle, but once everything clicks, it's extremely addictive. Whether you're grappling with pirates in space, diligently mining minerals, or simply letting yourself drift and admire the vast beauty of the universe, Elite Dangerous provides a one-of-a-kind experience. If Alien Isolation is the famous Aliens horror game, then Aliens Dark Descent is an excellent tactical gem that was unfortunately overlooked. This is not a shooter, but an intensely tense squad control tactical game, perfectly recreating the feeling of being hunted by xenomorphs. Your soldiers can suffer trauma or die permanently, making every decision high risk. The game captures the survival spirit of the Aliens film very well. Unfortunately, it's not well known, possibly because the tactical label was misunderstood as slow or due to lack of marketing. Regardless, this is a must-play title for Aliens fans and lovers of intense tactical gameplay. Next up is Risk of Rain 2, a roguelike but extremely different. This game allows you to experience the feeling of going from a fugitive to an invincible god in just a single run, thanks to the absurdly fun power-up mechanism. From initially struggling to survive, you quickly accumulate items and immense power. The great thing is that the co-op mode truly elevates the experience. Playing with friends is even more fun and chaotic. Each playthrough is always fresh, and the feeling of breaking the system when you become too strong is truly peak. Starting as a small indie, the game is passionately loved by those who have played it, even though many are still missing out on one of the most fun and replayable roguelike shooters. Don't forget the remake, Risk of Rain Returns, is also highly praised by fans. Mentioning Battlefront 2 immediately brings to mind the infamous microtransaction scandal and the unnecessary controversies surrounding EA at launch. A start that couldn't have been worse, and yet, the developers achieved what seemed impossible. They transformed a boycotted product into one of the most excellent Star Wars games currently available. The gameplay is extremely rich, letting you dominate in spectacular space dogfights, participate in large-scale ground battles on iconic planets, or even control heroes and villains to clash in skill-based solo duels. Every aspect of the gameplay was meticulously cared for. The graphics are a huge plus. The game looks stunning and still holds its position as one of the most visually impressive games even currently. The stigma from the start caused the game to lose a large number of potential players, a truly sad thing. Accessing the game currently, in terms of price, might also be a small barrier. Regardless, the version of Battlefront 2 we have today is the embodiment of a dream Star Wars multiplayer game. It deserves to overcome the shadow of the past and receive the love that its current quality warrants. Days Gone certainly had a rocky start when it first launched, facing all sorts of mixed opinions. But if for some reason you missed it, then congratulations or condolences. You've missed out on one of the most inexplicably underrated open-world games of the past decade. Imagine this: Sons of Anarchy meets The Walking Dead. That's what Days Gone is. And trust me, this combination that sounds kind of crazy actually works incredibly well. You'll follow Deacon Street. John, a rugged biker trying to survive in a post-apocalyptic world overrun with freakers. Yeah, don't just call them zombies, that sounds too common. The open world the game built is vast and full of mysteries waiting for you to explore. The feeling of facing the horde mechanism is truly something that can make you go pale, and the story gets surprisingly deep the further you go. Of course, the game still has a few minor flaws here and there, but if you're a fan of open-world survival games and like emotional stories, then Days Gone is definitely worth your time, even worth coming back to play again to fully appreciate it. When mentioning From Software, we usually immediately think of Dark Souls or Elden Ring, right? But Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, has proven that they are not just good at that genre, but can also create a mech game of extremely excellent quality. This game smoothly combines high-speed combat, strategic depth, incredibly detailed mech customization, and astonishingly responsive controls. The feeling of personally controlling your colossal machine rushing into battle is both satisfyingly tactile and powerful. The fact that you can fine-tune each part to create a perfect build according to your liking is a huge plus, making the gameplay incredibly captivating. FromSoft's specialty is bosses, and here they are intensely tense, cinematic, and brutally true to form. Although it didn't generate the same media frenzy as their other fantasy blockbusters, Armored Core 6 is a very worthwhile experience. It's highly recommended if you are looking for something fresher than their traditional action RPGs. Nioh 2 is exactly what you'd imagine if Dark Souls and Ninja Gaiden had a child. This game's combat system is truly on a different level, with many stances to master, countless weapons, and a loot system that encourages experimenting with new builds. Nioh 2 takes the Souls-like formula and powerfully upgrades it. Combat is faster, deadlier, and requires much higher technical skill. The game doesn't just offer peak action, but also delves deep into Japanese mythology with haunting yokai enemies and a story containing fascinating historical details. This is one of the best action RPGs out there right now, although it's somewhat overshadowed compared to other famous Souls-likes. If you love a challenge and are looking for a game with combat requiring high precision and mastery, Nioh 2 is a choice you absolutely cannot miss. Mad Max had a quiet start and was unfortunately overlooked, even though it's a game that very successfully conveys the spirit of the Mad Max world. You will explore the vast wasteland, collect resources to upgrade your war vehicle, the magnum opus, and participate in brutal battles to take down enemy convoys. Melee combat has the smooth style of Arkham games, while vehicular combat is truly top tier, realistically recreating the feeling of speed and chaos. The game world is dark, harsh, but has its own depth and a lived-in feel. Although the story isn't a strong point, if you are captivated by a chaotic open world and crazy car battles, Mad Max is a very worthwhile experience to try. Sleeping Dogs is like a wonderful combination of GTA and Hong Kong action movies, and it executes that excellently. Hand-to-hand combat is extremely spectacular with weighty martial arts, while driving is fast and has a fun arcade style. Hong Kong City is very atmospherically recreated. What the game does best is the engaging undercover spy story, which makes players deeply care about the characters. This is one of the best open-world crime action games, but unfortunately it didn't get a sequel or the recognition it deserves. That's why fans still cherish and talk about it to this day. The next name is a regrettably overlooked gem, TrackMania. If it had been released earlier, it could have become a legend. But the game fell into the gray area of high-skill online racing, so it hasn't received mainstream recognition. TrackMania is pure adrenaline, demanding extreme precision and peak skill, too hardcore compared to games like Mario Kart. That very difficulty is what creates its appeal. It's the kind of game you play and stick with for life, deserving to be known by more people. Like the Dark Souls of racing games worshipped by pros, if you are passionate about speed, skill, and true challenge, TrackMania is a game you cannot miss. At first glance, Dredge seems like a simple, cute fishing game for relaxation. But don't be fooled. Beneath that peaceful facade is a haunting Lovecraftian horror experience. The game skillfully leads you in with familiar fishing mechanics, but the deeper you go, the more you encounter strange things, mysterious whispers, and monstrous sea creatures. A creeping dread gradually increases. Dredge is perhaps not too famous because its uniqueness doesn't fit neatly into a genre, but that is its unique value. The way the game tricks you with simplicity and then gradually makes you doubt your own reality is very clever. With its haunting and eerie atmosphere, Dredge deserves even more praise. Prey is one of those games that many people unfortunately missed, and that's truly a crime in the gaming world. Imagine if BioShock happened in space. That's what Prey is. You'll be trapped on the space station Talos I, facing the shape-shifting Typhon creatures. Yes, even the smallest object can be a threat. Prey's brightest point is the freedom of gameplay. You can upgrade yourself with unique alien abilities, allowing you to approach each challenge in countless different ways. Combat, stealth, puzzle solving, or a combination. The game creates a tense, dark atmosphere and always forces you to be highly vigilant. If you're a fan of immersive sims, deep sci-fi stories, and creative gameplay, Prey is a must-play title. It will leave a deep impression. Escape from Tarkov is a game where survive to win, die to lose everything. Imagine taking the hardest parts of survival games, FPS and RPGs, mixing them together, maxing out the difficulty, and removing the restart button. Characteristics. Death means losing everything you brought into the raid. Tension is always at an extremely high level, trusting no one. Every small sound is terrifying. The game offers no guidance at all. There's just you and a risky map. Each raid is a big gamble. The game is extremely difficult, requiring a lot of time and patience, so it's not for the masses. But if you can overcome it, you'll realize this is one of the most tense, engaging, and deep shooters. Those who stick with it get addicted, willing to spend hundreds of hours exploring.
Covering assistance! Патроны кончились! Держи, сука, подарок! Oh shit!
The Medium is a unique psychological horror game with a core mechanic unlike any other game. It allows you to live and interact in two worlds, real and spirit, simultaneously on screen. You control the medium. Marianne, using this ability to solve puzzles, explore, and overcome obstacles. This parallel mechanic is not just visually striking, but also creates deep gameplay. The game heavily features a haunting atmosphere reminiscent of Silent Hill, enhanced by a soundtrack co-composed by the legendary Akira Yamaoka, inducing a chilling and anxious feeling. This is slow-paced horror, focusing on psychology and environment instead of jump scares. The story gradually unfolds through hidden secrets, lingering and making you think after playing. If you're a fan of Silent Hill, deep psychological horror, and artistic games, this is an unmissable experience.
Marianne. Sadness. Is that your name? I mean, you seem pretty cheerful to me.
Well, it's what I remember. My friends used to call me by a different name. But I don't remember what it was.
Your friends.
Oh yeah, I used to have a lot of friends here. But they're all gone.
Did something happen to them? It's okay. So, do you live here? All by yourself?
You wouldn't believe how boring it gets sometimes.
I can imagine. This place must have been.
The Thaumaturge is a dark RPG, strongly leaning into the supernatural, notably set in Warsaw in 1905. A location and period rarely explored in the world of games. You control a Thaumaturge with the ability to see and control saluters, bizarre supernatural beings. The game is a refined blend of classic detective stories, mystical elements, and RPG tactics. The gameplay features turn-based combat that requires strategy and moral choices that deeply affect the story. The game creates a surreal Eastern European atmosphere, both realistic and eerie, distinct from Western fantasy, building a very unique mystical universe. This is a worthwhile hidden gem for fans of deep RPGs, meaningful choices, and captivating mystical stories. Half-Life: Alyx is a regrettably missed FPS masterpiece due to the VR requirement. It is exactly Half-Life 3 that everyone was waiting for, just in VR. The VR hardware barrier caused the majority to miss this gem. The game is the pinnacle of modern FPS, thanks to extremely strong physical interactive gameplay. You have to truly manipulate everything like in real life. Hold, open, reload. Environmental physics are realistic to the point of being scary, creating a tense, dark atmosphere. Storytelling is deep, continuing from Half-Life 2 and opening up the future. If you're a fan of Half-Life, Portal, or environmental storytelling games, this is a if you know experience you cannot miss. A valid reason to own VR hardware. Metro Exodus is truly one of the most underrated games, even though it expanded the Metro universe wonderfully. No longer limited to the Moscow subway tunnels, Exodus takes you to the surface, exploring diverse lands across Russia, from deserts and dense forests to frozen regions. The game opts for a semi-open approach, balancing freedom of exploration with a linear narrative flow. Why didn't it explode in popularity? Perhaps because some old fans preferred the linear claustrophobia, or due to Epic Game Store exclusivity at launch, plus limited promotion. But if you like deep post-apocalyptic stories, heavy survival gameplay, where every bullet is precious, and detailed Eastern European settings, this is a masterpiece you cannot miss. So, we've gone through a series of quality games that might not be widely known. These hidden gems are well worth exploring, proving that great games aren't just loud blockbusters. If you found this list helpful and interesting, don't forget to like, hit the subscribe button, and the bell icon. Especially, please comment right below and let me know which game in the list impressed you the most, which games you've played, or any other hidden games you want to recommend to everyone. Thank you all for watching. See you again.